Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee with Inside the Firm. Each week, our hosts will be interviewing local, regional, and national business leaders to give you an inside peek into how they lead their business to success in the ever-competitive business climate.
Welcome to another special episode of Inside the Firm. We are broadcasting from the AIA Convention 2022 here in Chicago, and I have two special guests with me. First of all, I have Jim Kirby, AIA, Building Enclosure Research and Innovation Group. Jim is an architect in GAFs, Building Enclosure Research plus Innovation Group. He has a Master's of Architecture, Structures option, and is a licensed architect. His 30-plus years in the roofing industry has covered low slope, steep slope, metal, and SPF roofing, as well as green roofs and solar. Jim writes and presents about building and roofing science and does innovative research to inform all segments of the roofing industry. Kirby is a member of the AIA, ASTM, ICC, IIBEC, NRCA, and WSRCA. To my right, I have Bonnie Sharphouse. Bonnie is a lead AP and assistant and a sustainability manager for GAF. Bonnie has more than 15 years of consulting and industry experience in sustainability, strategy design, and execution for the manufacturing, chemical, and energy sectors. Bonnie is responsible for driving GAF's product sustainability strategy initiatives. She works across the business to explore innovative ways to reduce waste and improve product transparency, and to provide tools and resources to help customers meet their sustainability goals. She holds an undergraduate and master's degree in environmental sciences and policy from the College of William & Mary and Johns Hopkins University. Jim and Bonnie, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Quite the accolades. So before we get into everything you guys do at GAF, I ask everybody, tell us how you got here, and I want to start with Jim. Jim, I see you're a licensed architect, so you must have practiced formally. What led you from that to transition over to GAF?
So actually, I never did practice formally.
Oh, my fault.
So I've had I wouldn't call it circuitous route, but I graduated with my master's. I worked for a company and did forensic architecture. We investigated building problems. Did that for a number of years, and then I moved over into the trade association world, and I worked for the National Roofing Contractors Association, really learned the nuts and bolts of roofing there. Worked for a couple of different manufacturer trade associations, the asphalt roofing manufacturers and the roof coating manufacturers. And then while all of that was going on, at some point I decided that I would go back to school and get a graduate certificate in sustainable design and construction. And so after all of that, leading to the sustainability side, then really getting into building and roofing science, that's what really led me to GAF. Okay. So I'd really like to talk a little bit more about that once we get into it, but that's my long and windy road to get to GAF.
Very interesting. And Bonnie, I see you have these degrees in environmental design. So how did you end up at GAF?
Well, I started out in environmental consulting, and after working on all kinds of different projects for corporate clients, I really wanted to come to the corporate side and be able to, work on a strategy from start to finish. So I, had a background in corporate and oil and gas, and then chemical manufacturing, and came to GAF about 3 years ago.
Beautiful. So there's a possibility that some folks listening to this show, there's a lot of architects, a lot of designers, a lot of construction professionals, still don't know what GAF is. So tell us about your company, what it makes, what it does, and how it does it.
So the real elevated perspective is about 80% of our business is asphalt shingles. Mm-hmm. About 20% of our business is low slope commercial roofing. More specifically on the low slope commercial side, we make TPO membranes, we make PVC membranes, we do have all of the asphaltic products, built up roofing and modified bitumens, and we make all of our polyiso, which is the number one insulation used in the roofing industry. So that's a very broad base on what we do from the heart of the roofing perspective of keeping water out of the building.
Sure.
Would you like to add to anything?
How long has GAF been in existence? Maybe a little bit about the origin, and if you don't know, that's okay too. I'm just curious always.
Well, if memory serves, 1887.
Oh my goodness.
So we're over 130 years old. GAF actually originally stood for General Aniline Film.
Boy, that really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
And I may have gotten that second word wrong.
Okay.
So we knew how to make films, which turned into how to make paints, how to make sheet goods, which really stems from roofing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you for that. Jim, stick with you here for a second. Tell us about your research and writing at GAF. What's your day-to-day? How are you doing all the research, and then what does it all culminate into? So
we have two groups that I've been part of. When I came on to GAF, I was with the Building and Roofing Science group. And, as corporations do, things move around and change. Our Building and Roofing Science group is now outward-facing and really is there to try to help architects and engineers specify good roof systems and teach how good roofs work. About a year ago, we started this group, Building Enclosure Research and Innovation. So that's the group I'm in now, and so we are trying to innovate not just within the roofing product space, but also to see if there can be expansions to other markets, most of them tied to the building enclosure, of course.
Right.
So whether, that means wall and roof air barriers, getting more into those kinds of things, or just how to tie 5G to a rooftop for cellular. So a lot of what I do day to day is, back when I was with Building and Roofing Science Group, we wrote a lot of blogs all about building and roofing science. And just a quick explanation on that is all about how heat, air, liquid moisture, and water vapor move in and out of the building enclosure. Obviously, the building enclosure includes the roofs and the walls.
Yeah.
So lots of information on roof color, reflectivity, the benefits of that, how to best install your insulation to make sure it's most thermally efficient. So a lot of things on that perspective, just what is good roofing practice to keep roofs on when the wind blows. Quick aside, roof failures generally in high winds start at the edge.
Okay.
So edge metal is incredibly important. So we've done some recent research on edge metal. You're going to have to wait for the output on that.
Okay.
And hopefully next year we'll be able to publish something on that.
Uh-huh.
So that's a good amount of what we do on a daily basis.
Beautiful. Yeah. Bonnie, so unpack for us what you do in regards to sustainability. Obviously, every year sustainability keeps moving further and further up to the forefront of everybody's minds, in media, everything. So
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I work really closely with Jim and his group, and also with our Building and Roofing Science group, and especially am focused on the product sustainability, especially as it relates to green building rating systems, and helping our customers know how our products can green their building and contribute to whether it's LEED or another green building rating.
Sure.
We have all of the information necessary to, and all the platforms and things like that, so that architects and specifiers and our customers can get that information.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about GAF and what it's got on the horizon. Maybe some innovations in different kinds of roofing that you guys are doing, and energy too, right? Like steep slope, GAF energy, and then I saw you passed me a note about something about the Texas recycling exert, or maybe it's TX. I didn't know if it's actually Texas, but
so I'm going to let Bonnie talk about
okay.
that very exciting development. I'm going to start with our new GAF Timberline solar shingle. So it is a building integrated photovoltaic, so
interesting.
BIPV. So it is the roof and the energy producer. It is roofer installed, which means roofers can truly nail it in place. There are no shingles underneath it. Does require a specific underlayment to make sure that we get proper fire ratings, which is of course very critical for residential and any kind of steep slope roof.
Yeah.
The GAF solar shingle is really the new thing for us. We have a great group out in California. We're manufactured in the United States. A really good looking product. We've been rolling it out throughout the course of this year. We've won a number of awards for innovation, and obviously it revolves around sustainability and energy efficiency and trying to electrify the home from a very energy efficient and environmentally friendly way. So we're really proud of that product, and we think it's going to go places.
How does it stack up versus the Tesla shingles?
Oh, that's always the question.
Of course.
Of course it is. I think in one way,
Elon listens too, so you got to be careful.
Well, of
Just
course.
kidding.
Well, hi, Elon. If you look at just the actual solar shingle, our product is about a third smaller. Our product has about 1/3 less watts per shingle. But when you compare the overall square footage required to produce, to build a 6 kilowatt system on a home, the Tesla shingle roughly is 400 square feet of space. The GAF solar timberline shingle is roughly 430 square feet.
Okay.
So overall, we're taking up a similar square footage to get the same amount of output. I think importantly, and GAF being the roofing company and 80% residential, we want that product to be installed by roofers. So it is nailed in place. And so a roofer with a hammer can do this.
Like people who are not specially certified, is there a procedure for that, or I mean?
So you do not need to be a licensed certified solar installer to do the installation of the Timberline solar shingle. What happens once the shingle is installed, then that licensed electrician comes in and puts together all of the wiring. The reason we can do that is all of the wiring is above board, is above the waterproofing layer. So it's accessible, and then of course they're going to tie that into the inverter and into the house and all of that. So from our roofer perspective, it's very roofer friendly. You can walk on it, all of that. So and if you do run into a problem later on, the wiring is accessible by taking a top off of a cable tray. So it's a really, really inventive and innovative product.
One question that every architect, homeowner, everybody that I've talked to, we operate out of Boulder County, so it's a very there's a lot of 1%ers there, and who are very conscious, and they want to do the right thing for all different kinds of reasons and purpose. And I get this question as an architect and a contractor there of like, well, what about the warranty? And the hail and stuff like that. Like, can you unpack maybe some of those fears that people have?
Well, what I can tell you is I don't know the specifics about the warranty. I really don't. But I know that where we want to sell, we have done all of the testing. So whether it's fire resistance, which I mentioned, that underlayment, wind resistance, of course, how that shingle is going to stay in place. And I don't know specifically about impact. I would imagine that it has been impact tested to some level. It probably doesn't have a very severe hail rating, but I don't know that for a fact.
Okay.
But I'm sure, just based on my touching it, feeling it, that it feels pretty impact resistant. But we could, if people have questions, they can certainly reach out to us and see what we've done with that.
Sure. Where would they go to start investigating this product you guys are?
GAF.com/solar energy, I believe, is the URL. GAF Energy is our sister company that is producing this. I believe they're out of San Jose.
And besides Tesla, but like, are you, and you don't have to name any other companies because we don't want to give them free advertising. We want to help you guys out. But are you guys sort of at the leading edge of this? And is anybody else even doing these sort of things?
There are a couple of other roofing manufacturers that have a building integrated photovoltaic. Again, some of those, installed by a roofer versus a licensed electrician is really, I think, one of our differentiators.
Sure.
That above waterproofing layer cabling, I think, is really a big differentiator for us as well. It makes repair and maintenance
and can
a whole
people
lot
get
better.
these now?
They are available, like a lot of things. There's some lead time for it.
Yeah.
I know that we have not rolled it out in all 50 states.
Okay.
We are working every day to get more production, more facilities ramped up, so that we can supply as much as really the demand is out there. So,
and then costs, like what does it compare to just your typical Timberline, the Cool series? Any idea?
I'm not intentionally going to dodge that question, but I'm going to intentionally dodge that question.
That's totally fair, too.
And regions matter, geography, roof size, roof shape, roof height, all of those kinds of things do matter. So really, if we're getting that deep into a discussion with a potential client, come to us and we'll help you figure that out. For sure.
Excellent. Yeah. Bonnie, kind of anything you'd like to add, especially with the recycling effort that I mentioned?
So we are also very proud of our recycled asphalt shingle product. So we're the first ones to be able to take roof tear-offs, recycle that material back into shingles. So this is, a really recent development, and we're able to take 90% of the weight and manufacture that into these briquettes that can be put back into a shingle manufacturing process.
Now, do the shingles that are taken off, do they have to be GAF or can they be competitors?
They can be any. We can do all asphalt shingles.
Wow. And how new is this program?
We just installed the first recycled asphalt shingle roof earlier this year.
Exciting.
And yeah, it's very exciting. So, we're going to be scaling it up, across the U.S., starting with, you'd mentioned the facility in Texas that we recently announced in Corsicana, Texas, where that's going to be the facility for processing and manufacturing the briquettes. And so we're going to be diverting that material away from landfills. I mean, currently, a small percentage was getting recycled off of, disposed roofs, but those were going into asphalt roadways or, this is the first time that it's going directly back into the product. And it's the same shingle. It's the same quality as it was before.
Okay. Tell me about how it would start. So I'm Lance the contractor. Hey, pretend I call you up, and maybe I'm, I know you're not probably the person to talk to specifically about so I got a load here. What do I do with it?
Yeah, so you can go to our website for updates and see, when it would be, coming to your area. If you go to gaf.com/recycled asphalt
so it'll be
shingle,
like a regional.
You can sign up for updates.
Sure.
That's where we have all of the latest and greatest on everything that's going on with it.
That is very exciting. Yeah, kudos to you guys. I'm sure as a student of sustainability, you probably have read is Stephen McDullough, the Cradle to Cradle? Is that where part of this came from?
Bill McDonough?
Bill McDonough, sorry.
Yes, yeah. The idea is that circularity, he was one of the pioneers of this concept of circularity, where instead of having a linear process of extraction, manufacture, use, disposal, you have a situation where you're able to take things, keep things in use for as long as possible, for as long as we can, and then to, at the end of their useful life, be able to turn it back into the same product, be able to recover it and not landfill it.
Yeah. Yeah, but these are amazing things you guys are talking about. I mean, really, this is I'm so fascinated and excited about those kind of emerging trends that you guys are doing. So bravo to you guys and your company. Is there any other kind of trends that I haven't mentioned that you guys want to pitch about?
I mean, I would just say to definitely check out our sustainability report. So we launched that along with our 2030 planet goals a couple months ago on Earth Day. So if you go to gaf.com/sustainability promise, you can check out, around solar, recycled asphalt shingle, and everything else we have going on.
Exciting.
And one other thing that maybe feels a little bit tangential is we have worked very hard at getting our low slope systems to be very severe hail rated. So much of this country, believe it or not, is in a severe hail zone, and it's almost literally everything from the Rocky Mountains east.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's got to be the center.
It's the center, and we get hail almost everywhere to the East Coast.
Yep.
Obviously, the central Midwest is where the very severe hail is. So from a sustainability perspective, keeping roofs on a building is one of the biggest components of sustainability of roofs, so longevity. So we have a number of RoofNav product listings. RoofNav is Factory Mutual for all you out there. Factory Mutual's RoofNav. We have 1,400 very severe hail approval listings, and the key component in that is the cover board above the polyiso insulation that is directly beneath the waterproofing membrane.
Yeah.
That TPO or that PVC membrane. So that specific material is so tough and so rigid that it can take that impact from a 2+ inch hailstone. So once we start putting these on roofs, insurance companies are very happy because they're not buying new roofs every few years.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, it's great for the building owner. It's great for a homeowner if they have a low slope roof, because the effort that goes into replacement of the roof, the disruption to the facility, there's always some additional cost to the owner, and whether that's truly a monetary cost or just, again, disruption, is significant. So the more we can do to keep roofs on buildings, the better off everyone is.
Sure.
I would add one quick thing about this RAS shingle or this RAS briquette is that asphalt shingles are unfortunately one of the largest components in landfills.
Oh, yeah.
So not putting old material into landfills is completely what we think about from a circularity perspective. So that very severe hail, we have a TPO Extreme, which is really high heat resistant, 35-year warranties, things like that. So we want to put roofs on buildings that will be there not just for 15, 20 years, but 30, 35 years for sure.
Lifetimes. Yeah,
absolutely.
100%. Yeah. Well, we're coming up on the half hour here, and I have a question I ask every guest, and it is knowing what you know now, Jim, and if you could go back in time to when you first started your career, what is one piece of advice you'd give yourself?
So a couple of things come to mind, and they're completely disparate. I would have taken probably one or two. This will impress my brother and probably scare a few people.
Okay.
I really wish I would have taken a couple of chemistry classes in college. The amount of chemistry that's in the roofing industry, and it's just good to know. I mean, we all know that PVC stands for polyvinyl chloride, but what does that really mean?
Yeah.
What are all of these components and materials, and how do they differ? And so that would be certainly one thing that I would really have liked to have changed. I know I could go back and take a chemistry class right now. I feel a little old for that. The other thing is and this is a little bit more on the life advice, is take a gap year before you start working.
Interesting.
Go travel.
Yeah.
You will always work.
Would you apply that to school too? Take a gap year before school?
I'd take a gap year in between your bachelor's and your master's, or between your master's and going out and, joining, starting your career, once you have all of those lovely degrees. So looking back, that's one thing that I probably would want to change, for sure.
Interesting. Yeah.
So,
thank you for sharing. Bonnie?
You bet.
I would say I don't have any big regrets per se, because I am so happy with where I've landed, and so any big changes might have changed my path overall. So, but I would say that, when I was going through school, sustainability was really a frontier, and there weren't the types of programs that are available now, as far as tying the business case for sustainability. If I could go back, an MBA would have been helpful. Just from that, just from the business case side of things. But, overall, that's probably about the only thing I could think of.
Yeah. No sweat. Well, if people like what they heard today, and obviously some of these innovative products, just reiterate for me one more time, where can people find and follow GAF?
Yeah, definitely go to our website at www.gaf.com. Check out our sustainability at gaf.com/sustainability promise. If you are an architect looking for green information for green building rating systems, you can go to gaf.com/green architects.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for your time today. Really appreciate being a guest on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.